please welcome Sav Ketan and Drew Halsh.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sav,
Hey,
let's do this.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, well, thank you everybody for coming to this session on Tealium and AI and revolutionizing real-time data. I'm Drew Halsh, Director of Solutions Consulting.
And I'm Sav Ketan, VP of Product Marketing. Now, we've been thinking about this for a while. We thought you'll get the Hollywood and the Bollywood flavor for this topic, and maybe that'll help a little bit. So that's what we were going for. And then we've been thinking about this for a while, and today's sessions were fantastic, by the way. I hope you guys had a good time. Thank you for all the speakers and panelists. You guys have added so much value. All the attendees, you give us so much of your time. Thank you for making the effort. Everybody putting on the event, you guys have been amazing. So what we wanted to do now was try to bring everything together. You know, you've heard a lot of stories today, and how do we make sense out of all this stuff? And if you look at it, if you think about this data maturity idea, you'll realize that a lot of people, that's what we've been talking about. Like, how are we making progress? How are we doing more? And how are we doing it better? So that's what we're going to talk to you guys about, okay? So, Drew.
With the AI journey, we really can think about this as an AI maturity spectrum. And everybody in this room probably falls somewhere in between we haven't started yet to everything must have AI. And as Mike Anderson said, it's really about progress over perfection, right? The AI maturity comes from incremental progress, grounded in good data, and with organizational strategies to help move you forward. But the reality is we're all running towards this goal. We're all running towards AI-powered everything. And with AI-powered everything, we really think about these in two categories around this. But every vendor, every team, every individual is always thinking about this. But really the two categories, we have external facing solutions, right? AI-powered customer experience and AI-powered content. But we also have the internal experience for insights and productivity. And if we think of these categories in terms of our industry, these are kind of our big buckets in which we're all running after. And when deploying AI or using AI, they typically fall in one of these two categories. But the reality is, and we've known this for some time, that the customer experience is an omni-channel experience. We've actually created so many different systems that all have personalized ways of doing interactions and interacting with all these different channels. And this omni-channel customer experience, well, it adds a lot of complexity. We're not just running towards one AI experience, we're running towards many different AI experiences across many different channels to engage with our customers. And from an internal insights perspective, we have data lakes, data warehouses, BI tools, CRMs, and they're all promising, hey, use our AI. Use our AI in your own data lake, in your own data warehouse, or add a new one. So we have all these different repositories, and it's most likely that there's not just one within an organization, there's actually many. So if we're all running towards this goal of AI-powered everything, well, we've run into something that's really complex. And so what this leads us, it leads us to a handful of questions, such as, where do I start? What channel do I use? Where's my single source of AI? Do I use a vendor's AI, or should I go build my AI on top of my database? Should I centralize it or spread it out to every channel? And then ultimately, what touch point do I start with, and what use case do I start with? This is why your AI strategy is important, but also your data architecture is extremely important to adapt to these different changes. Now, Sav read through my initial presentation, and he had some feedback. He said it looks good, but let's have a little more fun with it. Now in my mind, technical architectures are fun, but I guess not everybody thinks about data flows in the free time. But Sav let me keep one data architecture, so now it's time for the fun. So with this, we really see this as you have your AI-powered databases. This is really where the industry is today. You have your data lakes, your data warehouses. These AI-powered databases have their own models. They sit on top of your data, and your data science teams are typically fine-tuning the models, training them, and helping deploy them. All of this information is being fed by your internal different data storage channels, whether it be your customer transactions, your first and second party data, different identity. This is all being batch loaded into these existing databases. And these databases now have a way of exporting them out, right? And typically in a batch format where we take the output, such as a propensity or next best action, and we go deliver it to your email vendor, or go deliver it to your CRM to help your sales team, or your next best action vendor. So this data flow is really, we can deploy AI use cases today just with this, right? And if you are organizing one or deploying one AI use case, you're typically doing this type of data flow. Your data science team's helping normalize the data, we're then moving the data outbound, and we're measuring results. And if for anybody in this industry likes buzzwords, The process of getting data in is ETL, and the process of getting data out is reverse ETL, right? Do we really need to make a term for that when it's just a SQL query to get data to the outbound? Either way, that's really the way the industry goes. We like creating buzzwords. But with this, it's missing pieces around the customer interaction. And if you know Tealium, we help out with customer interaction collection. And with this, we can connect directly to your websites, your mobile applications, your different CRMs, your different call centers or in-store. And with Tealium AI Stream, we help the collection of that data. We help the normalization and standardization of those data elements. We capture and honor consent as it's moving through. We create identity in these individual profiles. We add contextual attributes around these profiles, and then we go send that to your AI-powered database. That in itself is amazing, and it's powering those AI-powered databases with relevant information that is now making these models better. It's making them run better, it's giving them better insights, you're training it beyond it. But this is really just the first step, is connecting more data sets to go give to your data science teams. From this perspective, we're helping out the data engineers. We're helping them out because now they have to do less data wrangling with this normalization of data. But ultimately, we're all here to try to create more business value from the data in which we're using within this AI-powered database. And this is where getting data from these AI-powered databases to your end customer experience channels will actually lead to the business value in which we're looking to create. And going on to this data foundation component, this holistically is the data foundation. The streaming, the pixels, the SDKs, the APIs, the integrations, the real-time stream structure, as well as your AI-powered databases. This is the data foundation in which we all need to work towards to help power our AI initiatives. Sav, I told you, data architectures can be fun.
The Bollywood version.
So why does this matter? Why does this matter? Well, as talked about, if we just had the bottom area, we're really good at standing up 1 or 2 AI use cases. But we really need a more complete data architecture to actually scale our AI use cases. So if we need new data sets and we want to switch out different models, we can easily do that because the deploying of the model outputs directly back to the customer experience channels becomes faster and easier to do. I know it's been referenced, the flywheel approach, as well as Justin from FanDuel talked really about this data foundation first in the partnership with Zion, and then being able to scale and apply those AI use cases. So this is our vision for what is a customer data foundation to power AI. Now, today we're focused on these large models, right? Trained on large data sets, the centralized AI approach, whether you're using Snowflake, Databricks, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, that is the approach that we use today. These large models trained on large data sets in a centralized AI approach where you go invoke the model, it creates an output, and then you can go use that specifically. So if we're here today and this is running well and we're able to deploy use cases, but we also need to prepare for what's happening tomorrow. And if, as you all work with these various different customer experience tools, you'll notice that all of these tools are going to have AI already embedded in them. Whether it's for generative AI to create recommended email templates or recommended content to go power those emails, or optimizing your ad spend, all of these customer experience tools are utilizing AI within their platform, or if they're in development to use AI in their platform. So these smaller models at the edge of your experience channels are also going to be important. This is why having good, up-to-date, timely data to feed those models, to then go run those models and take action upon them, is necessary, and your data foundation will adapt to that. And as highlighted early on, we have smaller models on device. Every new phone on the market is now leveraging AI, most of them for their own operating systems, but at the same time, these smaller models on device, the AI on device itself, well, it's been around in autonomous vehicles for some time, but now that it's on your phone, they're going to make it available to enterprises. So now we can go invoke a smaller model, have it run directly on a specific data set within your app without ever having to make that network call all the way to your centralized database. Now, why does this matter? Well, if we think about the interaction where someone interacts with your website, Tim collects that data in real time, triggers the model then runs on the data set that is normalized, then powers this back and sends it right back to your application for a recommendation. It's amazing, it works in hundreds of milliseconds. That's extremely powerful. But what happens when you have network connectivity? What happens when you're a cruise company out at sea and your main customer base, you're looking to do AI experiences in app, but your main customer base can't connect fully in the way in which they can in somewhere that has high connectivity. That is why these smaller devices are a little bit further out, but they're still relevant, and a flexible data foundation is how you become agile. And of course, at Tealium, we're building AI internally as well. So this holistically, knowing that AI is going to be in every application, it's going to be in every customer experience channel, and it's going to be in your internal insights, we need that flexible data foundation to give you data agility to ultimately lead to your AI agility. And as AI runs across your ecosystem, the data foundation can be a blocker or an enabler. And your key to unlocking AI success is your data maturity.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you know, what I've been thinking about today, like when Sol was talking about this in the morning, she said, it's about the people, not the tech. And I don't think it's ever been more true than for AI. And it's misleading sometimes because we're watching the hype of Gen AI, we're watching how fast AI is getting better, and you think that you should be able to do the same. But we saw this quote just a couple of weeks ago from Deloitte, and it felt like spot on. And in fact, I think it 100% maps to what Sol was saying in the morning, that it's so easy for us to want more from the technology, but it's not the technology that's the problem. It's the organization and the whole operation around it that's actually what needs to evolve, and that's what's taking time. So to have this conversation, I'm going to use the most overused maturity framework in enterprise by far, crawl, walk, run. Now, most people tell me this is oversimplified and not great, and I agree, but I'm using it just to align with you guys, and then I'll talk about the AI maturity after that, okay? So, and before crawl, there was a whole amount of work that you had to do to get this one use case in deployment, in production. So I'm not talking about all the training and all the setup and everything else. We'll put that in pre-crawl. So Sol said this morning, 10% use cases are in production. She gave that teenage talk example, which I thought was hilarious, but 10% is in crawl. Then later on, she was saying maybe somewhere up to 30%. So let's say 10 to 30% is in crawl. Most people think that they are behind. But if only 10 to 30% are in crawl, the others are actually not even in crawl. So you're not behind if that's where you are, right? So if I just extend this a little bit to think about this, once I have one use case running in production, and by in production I mean it's giving you business value, or you're using it repeatedly, you're able to maintain it, you're able to update it. Just the basic stuff you got to do with the use case. So once you got one running, then what is the next stage? What is walk? It's maybe I'm going to use this same AI output, the decision intelligence, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to use it in multiple places, in multiple channels, or I'm going to do other use cases all at the same time. Either way, you go from one to many. Now, this part feels like the next step, but it actually takes very long and it's very hard. And then only after you do that can you go to where you're AI first in your strategy. So I want to talk about why this is hard and why this feels harder than it should be. This is the most deceiving problem of AI right now, okay? And if you can understand this, I'm not saying your problems will go away, but they'll make more sense. So first thing is, when we talk to people, first reset I want to offer you is, don't think of AI as one thing. Yes, it's an application. Yes, it's a use case. Yes, it's a technology, but it's actually more than all those things. It's an operation, it's a machine, and when you get going, it's a way of life, because it actually changes how you will make decisions if you can use that intelligence at the right time. It'll actually give you automation and a lot of nuance when you need it if you can figure it out. But it takes time to get there. And we talk about where we want to go with AI all the time, and we don't talk about where we are with AI, and that's usually the reason we struggle so much. So going back to our chart, normally you've probably heard people, process, tech, and data. So for the AI conversation, for the AI journey, we're going to add AI to that list. And again, Sol was saying, right, that the organization has to go with the technology, and then Jeff was talking about being proactive with your data layer. So let me show you what that means, right? So we all decide we're going to do an AI project. We have some use case. It all makes sense. We get everything going. And usually crawl looks like all the teams get going. Everybody agreed. We made this project. We made this team. And we got it off the ground. And now we think, oh, we got one off the ground. We should be able to do more. And then we should be able to get going. We all think that's how it's going to work. But that's not how it's working, right? You've heard this all day. Every single panelist is talking about bring the team along, think about your data, think about where you're going to go. So what I want to show you what we are seeing from all our customers and partners, the first step, okay, But then what happens is technology comes, and you buy technology, and suddenly you feel you're all the way at the other end, because technology is way more mature now than we are, and technology can do a lot more than the organization can do. So technology jumps ahead, and you think, okay, I can turn this on, so you go buy AI, you buy your next thing, your AI has jumped ahead, but this is where you're going to stall. Because the people in the process, they're not depending just on the tech and the AI, they also depend on the data layer. So what Drew was talking about those connections, if you don't have that connectivity, then every time you have a new use case, you get stuck that score is not available in the right time when you need it. And that's when you struggle. So the process doesn't evolve and the thinking doesn't evolve. So if you instead do the data layer, then the other things will come. Similarly, once I've got that working, right, once I've got the data layer, now I'm understanding all the applications of this foundation. Now other things get unlocked. So again, if you try to go to run, the people are all excited now, they understand it, they want to go, your AI is ready, but without the data layer, the process is not going to come. So you need the data layer to come before the process comes, okay? So apply this thinking to now our AI journey and the data maturity journey. I'll say it someday properly. So data collection management, that's where both things start. That's the foundation. Next thing, business intelligence, insights. We've all been doing this for a while, right? This is normal big data practices. Then we all got machine learning and AI experimentation, some of the stuff that Drew was talking about in the early days. This is where most people were for a while. Now the next stage of this, which is using AI at scale and doing automation and decisioning, this is where a lot of people have not been able to go from that third step. And if you look at the last one, this is where most are not able to go right now. Now it's because the data foundation, when you get the basic part of the foundation, all your data in one place, let's say, that lets you do the first two and maybe the third. But you're not going to go to AI-driven automation without having more agility in your data foundation. That's where you actually are going to hit a wall pretty much when you try to unlock new use cases. And you're definitely not going to AI agility without having the data agility first. So this is what we're saying. Be proactive with how you think about your data, and then your AI will follow, because your AI is already coming. Your technology and your AI are going to pull you forward. What's going to hold you back is your process and your data foundation. And those two are really closely aligned. So, you know, just to drive this home, you heard everybody say this today, right? High quality, up-to-date, unified data. Whatever that looks like for you, however you are thinking about that, whether it's real-time and batch, whether it's in one data platform or multiple data platforms, however you're organizing your center, you got to think about that first. And then everybody takes care of the third one, which is collection and delivery. It's the middle one that we find everybody thinks they can build it as they need it. But that's where you're going to struggle, because the tools were not built for this. The tools, in the large part, it's the middle stuff that they feel they will do just by use case. And they will not give you a blanket sort of connectivity board where you can just try different things. So this is what we are hearing from all of you today, that if you invest in these things, then your other stuff gets unlocked faster, better, easier. And that's what we want you guys to take from here. So one more time, right? Your AI journey is fully grounded in your data maturity journey. And those two are much closer in related than you think they are. And if you pick one, the other one's going to have to come with you. So that's what we want to offer you. So, you know, Drew just talked about that last column, the first column rather, modeling, forecasting, probabilistic. We've been doing that on a big data for a long time. Now what happens as we go to the other side, right, Drew? So many examples today.
Yeah, there's so many example customers about doing one of these really well, whether it be propensity on their data, whether it be product recommendations, which are actually happening directly inside your DV app. But ultimately, when we think about doing this across multiple channels, we do it with multiple AI use cases, this is where the complexity comes into play. This is why the data foundation is so important, is because complexity means that we need to actually have data interoperability so that we're not just building one thing at a time and moving to the next one, right? That's not giving us that exponential growth within our AI maturity, but rather creating a process where we're using the right data and we have the interoperability to get the data to the right area so that you can start testing models and easily deploy the outcomes or the outputs from these models directly to your customer experience channels. And you can also start testing the customer experience channels for their own AI capabilities, right? This agility is what we're looking to create.
Yeah, you could go in multiple use cases in one box. You could go in one column. You could go in multiple columns. These are all just, categories of AI, traditional, recent. He was talking about the smaller models, even where all the Gen AI is going right now. There's a lot of options. But the AI is never going to be your problem, because AI, so much investment. I think she said $1.85 trillion by 2030. That investment is what's going to make the AI portion easier. It's not going to make your organizational portion easier, right? That part you have to invest in. And that's the part that we want you guys to take from this. So we want to give you some stuff that you can take with you, right? This is a lot of information coming at you today from a lot of very seasoned, experienced people. So first thing is just reset. This just takes time. There is no other way around it. You have to plan that it's going to be a little bit slower than you thought, and it's going to move forward in steps. And most important, you're not working on anything else that requires more experimentation than AI. That is the number one thing you gotta just take and put into your brain, that no matter how you do this, you're going to have to try and learn, and then try again, and then learn, and you need a data foundation that supports that. That is very important.
And then the second takeaway is that the future will favor small, more efficient models. And they're going to be trained on specific data sets, similar to that Alaska Airline example from today. Melissa talking about all the upgrades and how they're doing it on specific data sets around customer profiles rather than all of their customer data which they have. And all of these different data sets are going to be running in different parts of the system, so you need to plan for a best of breed AI across the ecosystem. When you see a customer experience channel utilizing great AI, well, go use it. Just make sure it has the most up-to-date information, and you need flexibility, and you need a data foundation that makes it easy to go deliver that customer data to go test the model.
Yeah, Sol was talking about build versus buy. Is no reason right now to build a model from scratch unless you have the right people. You can buy models for anything you want. They're very specialized. So that, figure out where you want to invest your energy, where it will give you the best return for your creative and competitive differentiation, and spend your energy there, right? And then the last thing that, like we said today, your speed and scale will come from your data foundation. You might get going quite well with one-off integrations and one-off strategies, but you're not going to be able to scale that. You're not going to be able to go fast unless you have the data foundation that comes with you. So at least now, especially if you're early days, plan for a lot of experimentation and agility, and be a little bit more proactive with the data part of your strategy, and then you'll find that once you have the AI direction, then you'll be able to go there. And that's really what we want to give you to take with you, right? Accept that your AI journey is grounded in your data maturity journey, and then go on those together. Don't go on one separately without the other.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.